Hello and welcome back to card 2, and this is sort of like a shadow box card, and we're going to use the Whale of a Time papers, which you've got half a pack of 6x6 papers. Now I had half a pack and I've used the paper that you might want to use on my original design, so I'm probably going to have to use another. You need to pick two pieces, we're going to use both of them, that are like a pool party background, that are like an underwater theme, and I chose to use this one. I'll show you the card first. I did have a little faux pas and I did rip some cards, so this is the card. Ignore the ripped piece there. So I used these pieces here, and I'm going to have to use another one here. I'm going to have to use this one, but that's fine. So it's sort of, it stores flat and then it opens and it's like a little peekaboo sort of shadow box. And this is where I asked you to sort of have some circles to work with. Okay. So I've only made it once. I got this card from a demonstrator, found it on YouTube. I think she's called Heidi, and I'll find it, and when I'll put a message on here who it was. But thank you. And she did do some stamping there, which was nice, but I don't have the whale stamp set and punch, just the papers. So let me go through your pack with you. There's not as much in here, and I'm not very confident with this card. So, because I've only made it the once before, and I've got a cheat sheet in front of me, but it could go wrong. It could go disastrously wrong. So in your pack, you have, and I just realised I think I've forgotten to put an envelope in the last card. You have a piece of the ribbon, pool party ribbon. We can pop that to one side. You have a die cut square, which we can pop to one side. And you have an envelope, which we can pop to one side. And then you've got two pieces of pool party card that have been cut for you. Now, I will give you the measurements. We are working in inches today. So it's 8 inches by 5.5. I'd remembered that, 5.5 down. Okay. And then the other piece, excuse me, is 5.25 by 5.5. All right, so this one is the same depth as the bigger one, but it's only 5.25 across. All right, I'm just going to grab my trimmer to do some scoring. The first thing I'm going to do, make sure you're scoring and not cutting, please don't cut, is I'm going to score on the 8, so that I've got the long side in, I've got it landscape, not portrait, landscape, and I'm going to score it at 4.25 inch. Now, if you struggle with finding what is what, I'm just going to see, can you see here, on top of my trimmer? So this long line here is 4, and the next long line is the half, and then that one in the middle is the quarter. All these little things are 16ths, but on a ruler, the shorter that is, the smaller the measurement. So the longest one is the whole inch. The next one is the half inch. And that's the 1/4 inch there. Okay, so we are going to score it at 4.25. Now, you might think, Julie, why are you scoring at 4.25 when you just told me this piece of card is 8 inches wide? I know that 4.25 isn't half of 8, and it's not, but it's okay. So we are scoring it at 4.25, and you do end up with a card that is wider at one side. But don't let that worry you, all right? Don't let that worry you, because that's how it is supposed to be, okay? And so one side, your card will be 3 3/3, and the other side it will be 4.25, and the wide side is actually going to be the front of the card. And you might be thinking, well, how's that going to work? But it is going to work. All right, so we'll just pop that to one side for now, and we're now going to take our other piece. All right, now remember, you've got to just put it in your trimmer and work out which is the 5.5. Right, the 5.5 is this one, or you can actually hold it up to your card. Oh, I've just had a mince pie and I think there's a crumb there. So you want it with the 5 1/2 going down and the 5 1/4 across the top. Okay, and we're scoring. It's a little bit tricky this, because we're going to score. In fact, I'm going to flip it. We're scoring at 1/2 inch. Okay, but I've just done it there. But then we're going to score at 4 1/4 and 4 3/4. So 4 1/4 and 4 3/4. Okay. So I hope you can see this. So basically, this measurement across is 5 1/4, and your 5 1/2 is down, and you've got 1/2 here, and then you've got 2 at this side. So basically, you're scoring 1/2 an inch. If this is works out easier for you to process, you're scoring 1/2 in from one side, and then you're scoring 1/2 in and then 1 inch in from the other side. That might make a bit more sense to some people. So we're going to fold those scores, okay? And this is going to make our little box, you see, on the back of the card, yeah? All right? So that's going to make that. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to do some cutting of the paper. And I'm having to use these ones because, as I say, I've used up the others. But if I could, I would use these ones here with the... Although when you're doing it, I didn't pay attention to joining these bits, and it didn't really join very good. So maybe you could pay attention to that, unlike myself. But if you were a bit unhappy with that join, then you could maybe stick another creature there so you can't see. So, okay, we've got 2 pieces. Now, this is where I need to really get my thinking cap on. So, we're going to... I'm a better cutting with my little trimmer. I don't think I am. I don't think it's quite big enough. So what we're going to do, one of them needs to be 3 1/2. So I'm going to go from the left, 3 1/2 width. And then it needs to be 5 1/4 length. Now, I want to keep the crabby bits on the bottom, so I'm going to take it off the top. So that's going to be 5 1/4. Okay, so that's 3 1/2. Now the strip that you're left with is 2 1/2 because the 6 by 6 papers, but it needs to be at 5 1/2, so it needs to actually be longer. Look, I'm just looking at my card and working out where I need this to be. So that actually is I'm gonna use that as that one inside. Yeah, so that's going to be my inside one actually, and this one that I'm going to cut down to 5 1/2 is actually going to be my front piece. Okay, so this piece that I've just cut off is going to be my front piece. So this is 2 1/2 by 5 1/2. All right. And then this piece is going to go behind my shadow box, right? Which is going to be in there where the whales are, all right? So those are those bits done. Now we need to cut the paper for this bit and for this bit. So for on here and on here. And what you need to be aware of is, and which I wasn't, I'm going to let you look there if you can see, is the joining up. And I always cut from the left, and I think I'm better cutting the 2 1/2 from this side so it matches up. All right, now these need to be 2 1/2 and 3 1/2 by 5 1/4. So just follow this. So I'm going to do 2 1/2, and then I'm left with 3 1/2. Yeah, and that should match up then, you see. And I'm going to take it from the top, and I'm going to do 5 1/4. Now you have other patterns that you can practice on, but I made the mistake on my first card, so you don't have to. And then all being well, you see, when we come to make our card together, that's going to go on there, and then this piece is going to be this side, and it sort of joins up. Does that make sense? So I've cut the 2.5 first on this one. Right. Okie dokie. So I was a bit worried about explaining that, and I still don't think I've explained it very well. But anyway, right. Most of you have got the stitched shape dies. So I guess I should use those ones. But some of you have got the layering circles. I'm just going to have a little drink. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the last piece that I've just cut that I want for this foldy bit, and that's going to have the circle in it. And I'm going to cut my circle out from the paper. So I need to get my stitched dies out. Oh, they're not them. Oh, I'd already got them out. You've already got them out. So I'll use these ones because these are the ones that you've got. Now, is that going to be too big? Ooh, ooh, ooh. But is that going to be too... No, I think that could be all right. So let's go for it. Let's try these. If you've got the layering circles, I think, Kathy, you've got the layering circles. That would work too. So I'm just going to grab my machine and just put my paper and my dies there. And I need to get my plates. Apologies, this probably take up the whole of the screen. But I need to put it in so you can see it. So I'll go from this side. And I'm going to pop my paper on. Let me just... This is quite a big circle. Actually the same as the... So I'm going to pop it here. It just leaves about 0.5 centimetre at the side. And I'm going to pop it in about a good centimetre down from the top. Okay? And I am going to whack that through the big shot. But guess what I've done? I've got both my plates in. Oh, Julie. Right, let me just reline that back up. Okay. Okay, so I have now cut out, I've now got a stitched, and you can use that on another project. And I've now got a hole in my project, all right? Now, what you're going to then do is pop this on here, okay? And you can actually stick this down, right? We can stick this down now because we're going to pop it on there. I know you might be thinking, oh, why are you sticking it down? And I'm even thinking that myself, but I'm trusting myself. And if I go wrong, I'll just video this again. But I won't have any paper left. Oh, I think my glue's come to the end of its life. I'm shaking it like mad. Let me see if this little one has got some life left in it. Oh. Might have to open a new one. Well, this one's got some in, but it seems a bit stuck up. Just retrieved a bit of a glue bogey out of the end of that one. Hopefully it might work now. Yep, it's here. Come on, glue. You know what's going to happen, don't you? It's going to go bananas. Yeah. Actually, that's not... We don't want too much glue. Okay, so it's not ideal, but I'm sticking it in mid-air because I'm going to have to go back onto my big, my Boss machine. So that's going to stick on there like that. Yeah. And I'm going to put it back on the machine. Now, this next stitch die is a lot smaller, but it's nice to have a border because it looks a bit like a porthole. Now this is quite a lot smaller than the other one, and I'm not sure if it's going to work, so we'll have a go, and then if not, we'll cut the same size one out. But let's go for it. So you pop it in, and then you're cutting the card out, yeah. So, oh, I quite like that. We've got like a little porthole effect there. Yep. It's quite a wide border, but that's all right. And I think I can breathe. I can breathe a sigh of relief that I've done that bit now. Yep. Okay. So far, let's take a check. We've now got our scored bit. Can you see how this is going to come together? Look. Now, this is where I went wrong, though, when I was making mine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue this now onto the back of my project. Okie dokie. Like that. And can you see that's going to go there like that? It's going to do that. All right. Right. Now it's time to start sticking our shadow boxy bit. And this is where it can get tricky. And do you remember I said you need some tape? It's just because it's a little bit easier to deal with. But I'm going to pop some tape on that outer one. All right. So basically this bit here, that's that bit. That's not stuck to anything. That's like your spine. Yeah. So we can fold this over, and it's gonna stick there like that. Yeah. Now you can do it like that, but it's a lot easier to just fold it so you've still got this one showing, and then line it up with the edge. Okay. I think I'm going to be best turning it round and lining it up, she says. And then you can fold it out that way to make sure it's stuck down. Okay. And then what we're going to do is that's going to glue there to that side, all right? And what you can do is, if you fold this out to flatten it, yeah, you can actually flatten the whole back piece. And this is where it worked out that, you know, it was smaller at the back than the front. You can put tape on this like this, and with it all folded out at the back so you can see a bit of pool party through there, you can put tape on here like this, and you can literally just close the front then to stick it like that. And then when you open it, ta-da, you've got your little shadow box card, and it goes flat, yeah? And then it opens like that. So we've now got our little shadow box. Okay, now you might need to pause that, rewind that. I probably didn't explain that in the very best of ways, but hopefully I might have done. And I'm just trying to work out now, that's for the front. So remember, we've got a little piece that we're going to put there. So we'll do that in a bit. Well, let's do a bit of cutting out. So now we need to decorate it with a few sea creatures. Nicola, I think you will like this bit. So we've got nice papers with whales on. We've got these lovely grab shell dudes, Nemo turtles, and we've got these ones are good to use because they've got smaller turtles on, whales on, and this one's got larger ones on. I actually cut into that before I realised, so maybe you don't need to use that piece. You could just use this one piece. So what I'm going to do is what I've done on my first card is I've cut a large one out, then you can cut a tiny one out and then maybe a medium one to create like a little family. I'm just going to have a drink before I let it go cold. So I'm going to cut this one out here. Okay, is that one done? And then I want, I might do that one in different colour, and then that little purpley one. Sounds like a plan. So that one, and this one. I'm just standing up so I can see. I like to keep checking my video. A little bit tricky, these little ones, but there we go. And finally this one. Alright, so what I'm going to do is create a little scene, and I want the bigger one to be sort of nearer to the front. So I am going to glue down the smaller two directly onto the card. And it is a bit, you do have to sort of, it's not easy now but I think it's better to do this once you've actually made the card. So I've popped that one in there straight onto the background. Pop that one there, and they're all like swimming together. And then I'm going to take some dimensionals. I hope you can see this, and I'm going to pop it. Maybe that one's a bit too far over, but anyway, I'm going to pop it over them in front. Oh man. Like that. Okay, so that one's sort of a bit covered up there, but never mind. Maybe this one was a bit too big. And then I'm going to cut out some turtles. And I'm actually going to do one on the front and one inside, all right? So, let me have a think. Now, actually, the one that you're doing inside, you don't really need to cut out as thoroughly. You only need to do really the bit that you can see thoroughly, neatly. Do you know what I mean? And if you do it this way and you've got more paper to stick your dimensional on. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So I want it to sort of pop out like that, yeah. So I'm going to put a foam pad here at the bottom. I've not got full foam pads left. I've only got the bits that you chop off the ends. So I'm going to pop a foam pad there, and I'm going to stick it yeah. Okay, that's sticking out a bit far, but never mind. That's all right. It's like an undersea scene, isn't it? And then I might just do another one. Have I got any facing the other way? Are they all facing the same way? Because they're all going in the same current, aren't they? So they will be facing the same way. So I'm going to probably do a smaller one in this blue. Oh, that's gone on the floor. Not Nemo. What's he called? That turtle on Nemo. Crush. Yeah, it's called Crush. Huh. I once went on a ride at Disneyland Paris called Crush's Coaster. Never ever again in my life will I go on that. I've never felt so sick ever before. The whole roller coaster thing span round. Not only did you go down like the East Australian current on your roller coaster, then you're in a shell and it was awful. I had to go back to the hotel room and have a lie down. It's terrible. So that's going to glue on there like that, you see, yeah? Okay, I've got our little scene coming along nicely. Now, we need to decorate this, don't we? So, inside of our card, we need to pick another piece of paper. And I have used like a peacock one. And I can't even see if I've got any left. So I might have to do a new one and find it for you. So it wasn't those two, it wasn't that one, it wasn't that. She goes through, I can see it, it's this one. Oh, it's got the squids on the back. I have got a bit left, but I've not got enough to do. Right, I'm probably just going to do then. Right, I'm going to cheat this so I don't have to cut into another piece. So you're going to cut this. It needs to be 5 1/4 by 1 1/2. So I'm just going to grab my little mini trimmer because I know that will be fine. Although I think this will already be 5 1/4 because I've already cut it. So by 1 1/2. No, it's not. It's too long. So it needs to be 5 1/4. Now, if you're going to do what I've done on the front, cut your 1 1/2 measurement first. Don't cut it down to 5 1/4. Cut across at 1 1/2 first, then trim it down. So what's going to happen is, I'll show you the inside. This is going to sit in here like that. And then this piece is going to overlap it slightly and sit in there like that. And it, as you see, our little scene follows on then. So I'm going to glue this fern piece down. Like that. And you need an equal border all around the edge, and then I'm going to stick this piece over the top of it. Now, if you had the stamp set and you wanted to stamp a greeting, it's really nice to pop a greeting there, like an inside message there. We're getting there now. Now, you will have left now this piece that was 2.5 by 5.5. And that will sit on the front like that. Now, what you can do is you can cut a piece, you know, that was left over from your squid paper. And you can cut it to 2 3/4. So you get a little bit of the side by 5.5. That's why I said don't cut it down to 5 1/4. So, and what you can do is you can have a little bit of your patterned paper like sticking out like that. Yeah, does that make sense? So you can cut it to 2 3/4 and have it sticking out. I don't want to cut into a brand new piece. So I'm going to cheat and I'm going to grab a piece of the Pretty Peacock card. And I'm going to put some card behind it. Just because I'm being a cheapskate and not wanting to cut into another piece. So let's try 2 3/4 and by 5.5 and see what that looks like. Yeah, we've got a nice little border there. So I'm going to glue that down. Oh, I've got a bit of an overlap there on the paper. Oh, I haven't really. There we go. And then I'm going to stick that down onto the front of my card. Now you can go to town with this because it does look a little bit plain on the front, but of course all the effort and the excitement is when the recipient opens the card. But a little top tip, and I've used mine, if you've got some half, there's one there, if you've got some half ones with from the top where it's like flat, you can cut those out and glue it up like that. Glue it so you're making use of the ones that are like halfway on. Equally, if you've got some that are like halfway in, you could just have that little head coming out there like that. Should we do that? See how cute it looks. It might look a bit random. But you could put another little whale on the front if you wanted to. But you can save the interest for inside the card. And if you don't want to stamp over that bit we've just stuck down in inside, you can even, oh look at that, that looks cute, doesn't it? You could even write your sentiment in there. Write your message. You're not writing your sentiment, are you? You're writing your message. Come on, Jules. Just look at that sticking out like that. And then, if you've got a nice little greeting that'll fit in there, I've popped mine away actually. So I'll finish that off in a bit. But I'm just going to finish off with some ribbon. And what I'm going to do is, I like the lady who I copied from, had this bow down at the bottom. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. I know that we have bow woes and bow phobias. But I'm just sort of tying it where the card colours join. I seem to have given you plenty of ribbon anyway. Oops. So you can just, oops. try and sort of move it to go on an angle like that. And that's going to go there like that. I think the bow's a bit big. Okay. And then we trim it down. Like that. And then hopefully you might have a nice sentiment. You could stamp it just in black. Or if you do want to match, if you have got pretty peacock ink, then that would work. Or Pool Party would work. It could be a bit pale. But there we have our little shadow box card. Ta-da! I hope you like that. I love that. And I must say, my second attempt was better than my first attempt. So this has been quite a lengthy video and you might not be finished, and that is absolutely fine. It started at 2:45, but there's always a 2-minute countdown. So really it was nearer to, well, it's getting on for 10. So this video is 40 minutes. So I will say at 3:30 then. At 3:30, the last video will go up, and we are going to be using the Playful Pets, and you will need a trimmer and a scorer, and some scissors. And I will see you back then at 3:30. So I'll see you then. Bye.